Vishalan Naidu. He's a legal analyst by day, but has been out on the streets protecting his neighbourhood from the vandals. And he told us the police and government have simply not responded. And he joins us now live from Durban. Great to have you on the programme. Tell us, why are you out on the streets? Surely this is the job of the police and the troops, and just how dangerous is it?
Thank you, Maria. The reason that the members of the community are out on the streets is because there is a very limited police presence in many of the suburbs. What you're seeing on television is the position where looters are stealing from businesses and burning buildings because there isn't adequate security in the form of the police and military to stop them from doing that. In the areas where I live, which are more middle-class areas, people have taken their own measures now to protect themselves from looters. They've cordoned off roads and they are monitoring traffic that are coming into the areas that we live in to ensure that the looters don't get a foothold in our areas. And
how dangerous is this?
It's very dangerous. There are sporadic events of looters that are trying to get into our areas, and they come armed. They either have firearms, and some of them are also carrying petrol with them, because the modus operandi is to now throw petrol bombs into homes, and they're filling up canisters at petrol stations to achieve this objective. That hasn't happened yet in the area that I live in, but we have heard of incidents where communities that are next to informal settlements and townships where this is happening. So that's the reason why many... Yes. Sorry, Maria.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I mean, the way you're describing this, it just feels so out of control. Is the government, are the police in control of this, or have they lost control?
Maria, that's a good question. I don't think that the police are in control. The military have been deployed, but their presence has not yet been cemented in many parts of the areas where the looting is taking place and where the violence has intensified. It is only today that we are hearing about the deployment of military in parts of KZN. There were also reports of them being deployed last night. But despite all these reports, nothing has changed. The looting has continued unabated. Fires are raging around our areas. We can see plumes of smoke everywhere. And in other communities, there are gunshots, and you hear gunshots all the time.
It's really terrible to hear this. And tell us, basic necessities like food, how challenging is it to get food right now?
Well, I stood in a queue at a supermarket the entire day, from 8 o'clock this morning, and I only left at 4 p.m.
Wow. And
when I got into the store, it had the minimum amount of goods that you can buy. It's not the usual sort of shopping spree that we go on. These are not luxury items that can be purchased. They are basic commodities. And the word out there is that food shortages are going to intensify. It's happening very quickly. And that also applies to fuel. We also have a fuel crisis at present because the major roads are closed and trucks cannot deliver petrol and diesel to service stations.
And of course, all of this is happening in the midst of a pandemic. What are your biggest fears right now?
The biggest fears is the safety of our families, the food shortages. We're also in the midst of a pandemic, and as you can see, there isn't any appreciation or regard for the law. People are not socially distancing. Looters themselves are going to get infected, and it's going to lead to an even bigger problem. So the problems are snowballing. I am mainly concerned about my family's safety, and also the safety of the community that I live in, because we are all share the same plight right now. There are other communities that are worse off, Maria. So there is some positivity that I can take from that, but we don't know how long it's going to be in this position. Despite what the government is saying, I don't believe that they are in control, and the ministers are sending the wrong messages around the world that they are in control of the situation.
And so what do you expect to happen in the next few days? Could you see a state of emergency, more troops being sent in, more police?
President Ramaphosa has not given any indication that he intends to declare a state of emergency. We are in a state of disaster, but that was as a result of the pandemic hitting our shores last year. The position with a state of disaster is not the same as a state of emergency. If a state of emergency is declared, the military takes over with the president being the commander-in-chief in that position. It will only last for 21 days. That has not happened yet. We don't know why the president has not given any press conferences to discuss the issue. He has had press briefings, but he has not taken questions from the media directly. So I do not know whether a state of emergency will be declared.
It's been really great and useful to speak to you. And thank you for sharing your experience with our international audience. Please stay safe, you and your family. Vishalan Naidu, thank you so much, live from Durban for us.